I think we still have tremendous opportunity to continue to grow our ICE vehicles. We have 8 new SUVs coming out next year that are going to either be all new or refreshed, that are going to have improved profitability in key segments like the Escalade, like the Equinox from an ICE perspective. And then our EV portfolio is going to continue to grow.
Mary Barra just shocked every Chevy and GM owners with the latest announcement that no one saw coming, and now the automotive world is in disbelief. Chevrolet and GM, two of the most well-known brands in the world, have always had loyal followers, but this Mary Barra has always been a bit controversial leader, and though under her guidance, GM has navigated some of the most challenging times in the auto industry. Her announcement has left GM and Chevy owners are now left asking, what does this mean for us? And what about the industry? What exactly did Mary Barra say that has caused such a stir? A new chapter. Mary Barra's announcement wasn't just a minor update, it was a bold move that could reshape GM's future. With this new direction, GM aims to set itself apart from the competition in ways previously unimaginable, leaving both Chevy and GM owners with questions and the industry buzzing. At its heart, the announcement involves GM accelerating its electric vehicle plans. This isn't just about a few new models. GM is committing to move away from gas-powered vehicles faster than expected. Barra revealed that GM will invest billions into EV development, with several new electric models planned for release in the coming years, securing GM's future in the EV market. What makes this shift even more significant is GM's focus on electric infrastructure, enhancing charging stations, improving charging times, and ensuring that EVs have the range traditionally expected from gas-powered cars. This isn't just about making electric cars, it's about creating a full ecosystem for EVs, from charging to in-car technology. For Chevy and GM owners, this announcement signals change. While questions about the fate of gas-powered models are valid, GM's roadmap ensures that the company's transformation is already underway, marking a much more aggressive push into the EV market. Reactions from Chevy and GM owners. As the news spread, reactions from General Motors and Chevy owners have been varied, with many expressing a mixture of excitement, confusion, and even frustration. For some, the announcement represents a long overdue push in the right direction, while others are uncertain about what it means for their vehicles and their future with General Motors. One of the main concerns among Chevy owners is the idea of their vehicles becoming outdated. For years, many loyal General Motors customers have been happy with their gasoline-powered models. While some have been excited by the rise of electric vehicles, others are hesitant about the switch. The idea of being forced to give up their familiar, reliable vehicles for an entirely new model is a tough pill to swallow for some. On social media, the reactions have been swift. Some Chevy enthusiasts have praised the bold move, saying that General Motors is finally stepping up to the challenges of the 21st century and aligning itself with global trends in sustainability and technology. Others, however, have expressed concerns that this shift might make their current gasoline-powered vehicles obsolete, raising questions about resale value and future repair costs. Some Chevy owners feel that the company's focus on electric vehicles could alienate longtime customers who have supported General Motors' traditional lineup of cars, trucks, and sport utility vehicles. There are also concerns about the costs associated with transitioning to electric models, both in terms of the initial purchase price and the potential challenges of finding charging stations or dealing with the technology behind the new vehicles. Despite these mixed reactions, there is a common thread among the owners. They all want clarity. They want to know exactly how General Motors plans to roll out these new electric models and how it will affect them as customers. Will they have the option to trade in their existing cars for electric versions? Will General Motors continue to offer gasoline-powered options for those who aren't ready to make the switch? These are questions that General Motors will need to address in the coming months if they want to keep their customer base loyal. The bigger picture for GM and the automotive industry. When we take a step back and look at the bigger picture, it's clear that General Motors' decision to accelerate its electric vehicle strategy is a game changer. This is not just a move for the company, it's a pivotal moment for the entire automotive industry. As major manufacturers around the world shift towards electric cars, the landscape is changing rapidly. General Motors is positioning itself to be a leader in this transition, and Mary Barra's announcement indicates just how serious they are about reshaping the future of driving. But the implications of this move go far beyond just General Motors. This announcement could signal the beginning of a new era in the automotive world, one in which electric vehicles dominate the market. While some might argue that the transition to electric vehicles is still in its early stages, General Motors is signaling that the future is now. With automakers around the world investing billions into electric car development, General Motors' bold move puts pressure on competitors to step up their game as well. At the same time, this announcement is a direct response to growing concerns about climate change and the push for more sustainable transportation. Governments around the world are tightening emission standards, and consumers are becoming more conscious of their environmental impact. By committing to electric vehicles, General Motors is positioning itself as a leader in sustainability, a move that could pay off in the long term as more consumers demand eco-friendly options. In the short term, though, this shift could be rocky. There will likely be growing pains as General Motors transitions its production lines, trains its employees, and adapts its entire business model to support a new kind of vehicle. The shift towards electric vehicles will also put pressure on the company to innovate rapidly, as they will be competing with brands like Tesla, Ford, and others who are already deep into the electric vehicle market. Despite the challenges, General Motors is taking a bold step forward, and it's clear that they're thinking long term. Mary Barra's announcement shows that General Motors is committed to being a force for change in the industry, and while it may be difficult for some to accept, it could ultimately benefit both the company and its customers. Transitioning to electric, what does it mean for you? As Mary Barra's announcement has left many Chevy and General Motors owners wondering what the future holds, it's time to take a closer look at what this shift toward electric vehicles really means for you. The idea of moving from traditional gas-powered cars to fully electric vehicles can seem overwhelming, but the truth is, GM is taking several steps to make this transition as smooth as possible. For many longtime Chevy and GM owners, the move to electric vehicles is a major shift in how they've thought about cars. For decades, gas-powered engines have been the cornerstone of the American automotive landscape, and the idea of giving that up for something entirely different can raise all sorts of questions. One of the biggest concerns is how this will affect current GM and Chevy vehicles, particularly in terms of long-term ownership and resale value. The good news is that GM isn't leaving its traditional customers behind. Mary Barra's announcement didn't just signal a complete shift away from gas-powered vehicles. Instead, GM is committed to offering both electric and hybrid options, allowing owners to make the transition gradually if they choose. For some, this means they won't have to give up their trusted gas-powered cars just yet. But as more and more electric vehicles hit the market, it's clear that GM is preparing for a future where electric cars are the dominant force. Chevy and GM owners who are already excited about the possibilities of EVs might be wondering when they can expect to see these new electric models hitting the roads. The answer is sooner than you might think. GM has already committed to releasing several electric models within the next few years. This includes the Chevrolet Bolt EV, which has already garnered praise for its affordability and practicality. But that's just the beginning. GM has ambitious plans to roll out additional electric vehicles across various price points and categories, ensuring that there is something for everyone. As we look ahead, the process of transitioning to electric vehicles will involve some key changes. For example, many Chevy and GM owners will need to consider how they charge their new electric cars. Charging infrastructure is one of the main concerns for potential EV owners, but GM is already addressing this by investing in new charging stations and improving charging times. Charging an EV can take anywhere from a few hours to overnight, depending on the type of charger used, but GM is working to make charging more convenient and accessible for everyone. Will your gas-powered car be left behind? One of the biggest fears for Chevy and GM owners right now is whether their current gas-powered vehicles will be left behind as GM pushes further into the electric market. After all, as more automakers shift to electric, the question of whether gas-powered cars will eventually become obsolete is a valid concern. Will their vehicles lose value? Will parts and repairs become harder to find? And perhaps most importantly, will they be forced to replace their beloved cars sooner than they had anticipated? The short answer is no. Your gas-powered Chevy or GM car won't be obsolete overnight. GM is still committed to supporting its gas-powered and hybrid models for the foreseeable future. But as electric vehicles become more common and more advanced, it's clear that the company's focus will shift towards their electric future. This means that while current gas-powered vehicles won't be instantly outdated, there will likely be fewer new models in the coming years. For many owners, the transition from gas-powered to electric vehicles might seem like a major leap, but GM's long-term plan is to make it as seamless as possible. If you've recently purchased a gas-powered Chevy or GM vehicle, you can rest assured that GM will continue to support your car with the necessary parts and services. However, if you're thinking about purchasing a new vehicle in the coming years, it might be time to consider making the switch to an electric model. The truth is, the electric vehicle market is growing at an incredible pace, and it's only a matter of time before electric cars are more widely available and more affordable for consumers. While GM's announcement does signal a shift towards EVs, it also marks the beginning of a more diverse, flexible future for both the company and its customers. You won't be forced to make the switch immediately, but if you're planning to buy a new car in the future, electric vehicles should definitely be on your radar. The resale value of gas-powered Chevy and GM cars. With the shift toward electric vehicles, many Chevy and GM owners are worried about the future resale value of their gas-powered cars. Will their vehicles lose value as GM moves toward an all-electric future? Will potential buyers be hesitant to purchase a car that might soon be considered outdated? While these are valid concerns, the reality is more complex than it may first appear. Resale value is influenced by many factors, and the move to electric vehicles won't automatically cause your car's value to plummet. The automotive market will likely continue to have demand for gas-powered vehicles for some time, especially in areas where charging infrastructure is less developed or where consumers are simply not ready to make the switch to electric cars. Additionally, certain types of vehicles, like trucks and SUVs, may hold their value longer, as these types of vehicles are still in high demand and may take longer to fully transition to electric versions. That said, it's clear that electric vehicles are the future, and over time, gas-powered cars may experience a dip in value as electric vehicles become more common. For those considering selling their cars in the next few years, it may be wise to start thinking about the long-term resale value of their vehicles and how the shift to electric cars could impact the market. It's also worth noting that some GM customers may find that their current vehicles hold value longer than expected, especially if they are in high demand or are in good condition. As GM continues to roll out electric vehicles, it's likely that the market for used electric cars will also grow, and this could open up new opportunities for those who are looking to upgrade their vehicles. The resale value of electric vehicles is expected to remain strong in the long term, especially as the technology improves and more consumers make the switch to electric. For now, GM owners can rest assured that their current vehicles will retain value for the foreseeable future, but it's important to keep an eye on the broader trends in the automotive market. The shift to electric vehicles is a gradual process, and it may take some time before gas-powered cars truly lose their value. The future of GM and Chevy, a new era of driving. Looking ahead, GM's commitment to electric vehicles signals the dawn of a new era in the automotive world. The company is betting big on EVs, and it's clear that they're not just thinking about the vehicles themselves. They're thinking about the entire experience of driving, from infrastructure to in-car technology. GM's strategy to push for a future where electric vehicles dominate the roads will fundamentally change how we drive, how we think about transportation, and how we interact with our cars. The electric revolution is well underway, and GM is positioning itself as one of the leading companies in this shift. As more and more automakers turn their attention to electric mobility, GM's innovation in this space will likely shape the future of the industry for years to come. Their vision goes beyond just building cars. It's about creating an ecosystem for electric vehicles that includes faster charging times, better infrastructure, and even more advanced in-car technology to enhance the driving experience. For Chevy and GM owners, this is an exciting time. Whether you're already an electric vehicle enthusiast or still on the fence, the changes coming from GM promise to make electric cars more accessible, more affordable, and more practical than ever before. As the company accelerates its shift toward EVs, it's clear that the future of driving is electric, and GM is committed to leading the way. In the end, Mary Barra's announcement is a bold move that signals the beginning of an exciting new chapter for both GM and Chevy owners. While the transition to electric vehicles may seem daunting for some, it also represents an opportunity to be part of a transformative moment in the automotive world. As GM continues to innovate and push for a more sustainable future, Chevy and GM owners can look forward to a future where their vehicles are not only more environmentally friendly, but also more technologically advanced than ever before. The global push for sustainability and clean energy. Mary Barra's announcement isn't just a pivot for General Motors, it's part of a much larger movement sweeping through the entire automotive industry. The push toward electric vehicles is being driven by a global demand for sustainability and clean energy, a movement that has been gaining traction for years but has recently reached a tipping point. Governments, consumers, and businesses are all working together to reduce carbon emissions, tackle climate change, and move toward renewable energy sources. And General Motors' decision to shift focus toward electric vehicles is a direct response to these growing demands. At the core of this movement is the need to reduce dependence on fossil fuels and shift toward cleaner alternatives. The transportation sector is one of the largest contributors to carbon emissions worldwide, and electric vehicles are seen as one of the most effective ways to reduce this impact. By moving toward electric mobility, General Motors is not just making a smart business decision, it's aligning itself with the global trend toward sustainability. This shift is something that many other major automakers are also pursuing, but General Motors' leadership in this space could make it a trailblazer in the race toward a cleaner, greener future. One of the driving forces behind the global transition to electric vehicles is government legislation. Across the world, countries and regions are setting ambitious targets for reducing carbon emissions and increasing the adoption of electric vehicles. For instance, the European Union has set a goal to become carbon neutral by 2050, and the United States has pledged to reduce emissions by 50% by 2030. In order to meet these goals, governments are incentivizing the adoption of electric vehicles through tax breaks, subsidies, and other programs. These incentives are designed to encourage both consumers and automakers to make the switch to electric mobility. For General Motors, the move toward electric vehicles is a way to not only keep pace with these regulations, but also to position itself as a leader in the future of transportation. As more and more governments push for the widespread adoption of electric vehicles, General Motors' commitment to a fully electric future places it in a strong position to capitalize on these changes. But this also raises important questions about the role of automakers in the larger fight against climate change and the global push for sustainability. The challenges of shifting toward electric vehicles. While the transition to electric vehicles presents numerous opportunities, it also comes with its fair share of challenges. For one, building a comprehensive infrastructure to support electric vehicles is no small feat. Charging stations are essential for making electric vehicle ownership practical, and although General Motors is investing heavily in expanding charging networks, there are still many areas that lack the infrastructure needed to support widespread adoption. Another challenge is the supply chain for electric vehicles. Unlike gas-powered cars, electric vehicles rely on rare and expensive materials like lithium, cobalt, and nickel for their batteries. These materials are often mined in regions with less than ideal labor practices and environmental concerns, raising ethical and sustainability issues. General Motors, along with other automakers, will need to find ways to secure these materials sustainably and ethically while keeping costs manageable for consumers. Additionally, electric vehicles are still facing some technological hurdles, such as battery life and range anxiety. While modern electric vehicles are far more efficient and reliable than their predecessors, they still don't quite match the convenience of gas-powered vehicles in terms of long-distance travel. Although charging infrastructure is improving, long road trips still require careful planning, and some consumers are hesitant to make the switch because they don't want to worry about finding a charging station in a remote area. There's also the challenge of consumer perception. Many people are still unfamiliar with electric vehicles and their benefits, and some remain skeptical about their performance and reliability. Overcoming these misconceptions will require a concerted effort by General Motors and other automakers to educate consumers about the advantages of electric vehicles and the strides that have been made in improving their technology. General Motors' aggressive marketing and education campaigns will be crucial in changing the narrative around electric vehicles and convincing consumers that electric vehicles can meet their needs as well as, if not better than, gas-powered cars. Despite these challenges, the momentum behind electric vehicles is undeniable. With increasing pressure from both governments and consumers, automakers like General Motors have no choice but to evolve and adapt to meet the demands of a cleaner, more sustainable future. While the road to an all-electric future may be filled with obstacles, it's clear that General Motors is determined to lead the charge and overcome these hurdles, setting an example for the industry to follow. General Motors competitors, how the big players are responding. General Motors' shift toward electric vehicles is not happening in a vacuum. While the company's announcement was a significant moment for the automotive industry, it's important to consider how General Motors competitors are responding to this growing trend. Automakers around the world are pouring billions into their own electric vehicle programs, with each company trying to secure its place in the rapidly evolving market. One of General Motors' biggest competitors in the electric vehicle space is Ford. The American automaker has been investing heavily in electric vehicles, with the release of models like the Ford Mustang Mach-E and the upcoming all-electric Ford F-150 Lightning. Like General Motors, Ford is embracing the electric future, but is also continuing to produce traditional gas-powered vehicles for the time being. Ford's strategy seems to mirror General Motors in many ways, with a focus on providing both electric and hybrid options to meet the diverse needs of consumers. Another major player in the electric vehicle market is Tesla, the pioneering electric vehicle company that has been leading the charge in electric mobility for years. Tesla's success has inspired many traditional automakers to step up their electric vehicle programs, and General Motors is no exception. While General Motors' focus on electric vehicles is still in the early stages compared to Tesla's, the company is quickly catching up with its plans for mass-market electric vehicle production. European automakers are also making their own moves toward electrification. Companies like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz have all committed to shifting their production to electric vehicles, with some setting ambitious targets to phase out internal combustion engine vehicles in the coming decades. For example, Volkswagen has pledged to make 70% of its sales electric by 2030, and it's betting heavily on its ID family of electric vehicles to carry it forward. What's clear from all of this is that General Motors is operating in a highly competitive space. As the shift to electric vehicles accelerates, automakers are jockeying for position, each trying to position themselves as leaders in the electric future. General Motors' announcement is a direct challenge to its competitors, signaling its intention to be a dominant player in the electric vehicle market. But it's also a recognition that the future of the automotive industry is electric, and General Motors must act quickly to remain relevant. The future and Barra's legacy. Mary Barra's announcement has signaled a transformative shift for General Motors, positioning the company at the forefront of the electric vehicle revolution. This bold move is not just a trend, but a deliberate, long-term commitment to reshaping the future of transportation. GM is betting on a world where electric vehicles are the standard, and this vision will require both significant investment and sustained effort. For many loyal Chevy and GM owners, this shift may initially seem daunting. The bond between consumer and vehicle is strong, and the idea of moving to a completely new type of car can feel overwhelming. Yet, as GM's electric models evolve and improve in areas such as battery life, charging networks, and vehicle performance, the advantages of switching to electric will become clear. Electric vehicles offer more than just environmental benefits. They can be more affordable to maintain, more efficient to operate, and even more enjoyable to drive. Barra's leadership has been crucial in driving GM's focus on sustainability and innovation. This transformation will push other automakers to step up their own electric vehicle plans, spurring more competition in the market. For consumers, this means better products, more choices, and increased access to electric vehicles. As GM continues to make strides in this space, it's clear that Mary Barra's vision isn't just about GM's place in the electric future, it's about leading it. This announcement marks a pivotal moment in GM's history, one that will set the stage for future innovations and a new kind of relationship between consumers and their vehicles.